All right, welcome everybody. It's Coach Randy Byrd. We're here for let me look again. It's 1:30 in Arizona, so that means it's 12:30 Pacific time. I've been in six time zones in the last week and a half, so I don't know what day it is, what time it is. And then I leave to Cabo on Friday, which is another time zone. And then we come back and we go somewhere else, which is another time zone. But it's real world problems. It's fun to be traveling so much, but literally I don't know what time of the day is it on my calendar unless it tells me. But my name is Coach Randy Byrd. I'm here every single week, and I'm bringing you coaching nuggets. I'm bringing you coaching content, and typically, um, I'll have somewhat of an agenda that I'm talking about that week. You guys can always butt in. You can always raise your hand. This is interactive. It precedes what I want to teach. It's about supporting you, supporting the people that are on this call. And yes, it's a coaching call. So I might be in your ear a little bit. I might be pressing buttons that you have that you didn't know you had. It's all for your benefit, right? I'm certainly not going to call anybody out and single anybody out. That's not my style, unless I have permission to do so. And so, really, what this looks like is, and I'm stopping a couple of the um, note takers and different things that are in here. Okay, so really, what this is for is to help move the needle in your real estate business, bar none, right? That's job one, is to help move the needle in your real estate business. A coach is absolutely the best way to go in your real estate business, but let's be honest, it's expensive. People sometimes are just trying to figure out how to get the next escrow. We're not here to talk about any of that, and I don't promote my coaching. Yes, you can hire me, but that's not the goal here, right? I'll never try and get you into paid coaching. This is free for a reason. I want to try and move the needle in your real estate business. I want to take now 10 years of coaching experience and answer your questions or give you nuggets or give you guidelines and best practices to help you in your real estate business. Okay. We do this every single week. Invite your friends, like Johnny Depp said on Pirates of the Caribbean, tell the others, right? With a little thing of rum in his hand. Tell the others, get people onto this call. There is no price of admission except that the price of admission is my request. You tell your friends that might need some of this value put into the real estate business. Okay. So there's no rules. Just be positive. Don't be negative. Don't bash others. Don't laugh at anybody, right? We all are in a learning environment. So I want to make sure that that's a safe place. If you want to chat with me privately, you just go to the chat and you click on the new chat. Instead of everyone, you go to the new chat, and then you could chat with me directly and ask me a question. Say, I'm embarrassed to say this, but I don't even know how to start a conversation with somebody. Or I'm embarrassed to say this, I don't even know what CRM stands for. It's okay. I'll answer it without calling you out. Okay. So that's the goal here. And so as we get started, here's my agenda for the day. Standards. What do standards mean to you? What do standards mean to your real estate business? What do standards mean to your SOP or your standard operating procedure that you run in your business? Right? For me, standards are, we've got a couple different ways to look at this. If you look at it from my team's perspective, we have standards that we have set in stone for what the experience is going to be to our buyers and sellers. As we're servicing buyers and sellers, whether they're investors, first-time homeowners, or somebody that owns a commercial building, they're still a buyer or a seller. We want to have servicing standards that we expect within that team, right? So my team, one of my pet peeves is getting back to people. You would not believe how many people I talk to that go, yeah, nobody ever got back to me. I called on that house, nobody ever got back to me, right? If we find that happening in the team, that is like a critical error. That's something where that just can't happen. That's the top of the funnel. The most important thing we could do is make sure we're available, right? I called three agents today in my either agent attraction or support roles or different things. Three agents today, voicemails were full, right? That's my biggest pet peeve on the planet. You call a freaking licensed real estate agent and their voicemail is full is stupid. You're stupid if your voicemail's full. Okay, so I'm a coach. I'm being honest with you. So here's the thing. Here's what I do, and this is mean, but I do it almost every time. I used to be much more elaborate about this, but I'll take and go to, I'll go star 73 and block my number. And then their voicemail's full, so I can't leave a message. So I'll text them and I'll go, hey, this is a buyer for 123 Banana Street. I've got $5 million I have to spend in the next 7 days. I just need to close. It's a 1031. I need to close. No inspections, no contingencies. I need to spend money, but your phone was busy and you don't have voicemail set up. So I'm going to look on Zillow. I'm on Zillow now. Oh, it looks like Randy Byrd is available. I'm going to reach out to him. Thanks anyway. No need to call me back. And I leave that voicemail, and without exception, they call me back going, whoa, 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 sorry, sorry. I was with picking up my daughter. I was doing this, I was doing that. It doesn't matter, right? The bottom line is you've missed that opportunity in real estate. So, and then I'll usually, especially if I know them, I'll go JK, LOL. That's how that could have gone though, right? So you could tell it's a pet peeve of mine. I did it today. Matter of fact, I texted somebody and she texted me back going, LOL, I recognize your number, Randy. Haha. But the reality is her voicemail's full. What happens if a client calls you on a property, right? That's a standard that is not acceptable, right? I get it. You have 6 messages with your daughter when they went to their first year in college and you don't want to delete those messages. Put them onto a disk, put them onto a little drive, do something. Make your voicemail available if you're getting that many calls. Okay. So I'm off my soapbox for that now. Standards, when we talk about standards in our business, like if you work backwards, what's your business plan for the year? How many transactions do you want to close, right? So is anybody brave enough to say how many transactions they want to close in 2026? And let me work some math backwards so you can understand what I'm talking about. You could chat it in, you could take yourself off mute for a minute. 4, 12, 50, 90, whatever it is. Anybody?
That, oh,
Daniel, you're not muted. I'll mute you. I muted him. It's okay. Anybody want to be brave? No? No brave?
I'll be
We got
brave.
some
Okay,
answers
thank
in the
you.
chat too.
Yes. It says iPhone. What's your name?
Hi, I'm Marka Taverniti in Idaho.
Hey, how you doing in Idaho? All
Good,
right.
how are you?
So what's your goal this year? Close transactions.
So mine's 36.
Okay, awesome. I love it.
That's double of what I did last year. I went on a little bit of a sabbatical last year and I closed 18 deals from June on.
Good for you. Well, that's a robust business to be doing 36 deals a year. And matter of fact, 12 is kind of a number where you're really a full-time agent. So you did 18, great job. And then when we can get into that 2 to 3 cycles of transactions per month, that's really when you have a predictable, reliable amount of income, a business worth owning, all those things happen. So I commend you for the goal. So do you know how many conversations you have to have mathematically to do 36 transactions?
I do. I have it all broken down. I'm driving. Well, I'm in the
I
passenger seat right now, but
I love it.
I know that I mean, ideally, how I have it set up right now is to meet my goal. I need to go on at least one listing appointment and one buyer appointment every other week. I have
Okay.
been going on them weekly
Okay.
since the first of the year.
Okay. I love it.
I have closed year to date 6 transactions.
I love it. Good job. So it sounds like you got a really good feel for this. So I'm not probably speaking to you. I'm going to speak to the other people that don't know how to get to 36, how
Yeah.
to get to 18, right? So mathematically, when I was coaching for Tom, we did a formula and we found through the top agents in our 700 agents in our profile, how many appointments they had to have to get, or how many conversations they had to have that appointment, either a listing appointment or a buyer appointment, servicing buyers and sellers, right? And that number was 35 average. So think about that, 35 conversations to a closed transaction, buyer or seller. It could be totally different in your market. So I'm going to give a caveat to that. If you are calling nothing but expireds, you might find that you need to have 80 conversations to get that listing to close. If you're calling your warm database, it might be 8 or 12 people that you talk to before you get a closed transaction because they're all nurtured and they've been warm in your database, right? So there's always going to be a math switch here, but I'm going to do some quick math based on your 36 just for fun, okay? So 36, if we go times 35 conversations, That's 1,260 conversations you have to have with different people. Could be the same person over a month or a 2-month span, but you have to have 1,260 different conversations about their servicing needs for buying and selling real estate, right?
Okay.
So that sounds like a tremendous number, right? And we could break that down to say, okay, I have to go on one listing appointment a week, one buyer appointment a week, so two every 2 weeks. You could do that as well. But if we track the front end of the KPI, key performance indicators in real estate, it's actually easier to mathematically track because the listing appointment, the buyer appointment every 2 weeks, like you said, not to dismiss that. I'm just saying that that's a reactive measure, right?
Okay.
That means something already had to happen to get to 2 appointments in that 2 weeks.
Right.
On the front end, we can control that because I know if you have so many conversations per week, it's going to lead to the next metric, right?
Mhm.
So I'm gonna break this down, and to me it gets fun when we do this, right? Because then it makes it totally tangible. But right now, who feels like making 1,260 live conversations, not dials, but you've actually called 5 people and one answered? Now you're talking to a conversation. Who's super excited about calling 1,260 people over the next 12 months? Right? Not me, right? But now let's break down the math and like what could you do? What would you be willing to commit to? What would your standard be of calling so many people per day? Like if you had a goal of 36, do you have a standard number one of a time frame that you're going to make calls every day, an hour, 2 hours, whatever it is that's prospecting dedicated? And then in that time, do you have a standard of how many people you're going to talk to and reach, right? Before you quit, basically. So the reason I'm saying this is because we're going to work backwards. So 1,260 conversations over the course of 12 months, divide by 12 months, makes it 105 per month. That sounds more reasonable. But let's go a step further. Some months have 5 weeks, but we're going to pretend every week only has, or every month only has 4. So divide that by 4. Now we're at 26 conversations per week. That sounds more manageable.
Yeah.
And then we break it down even more. We work 5 days per week, divide by 5. Now we're talking about 5.2 conversations per day. That's if you do 5.2 conversations per day, you're going to do at least 36 transactions in my world, mathematically, right? So
Right.
that's a controllable. When you say, I'm going to talk to 5 people per day, 5 days a week in my real estate business, that's a controllable. And I've got people that their goals are doing 1,000 transactions next year. So that's got to be spread over the team. And mathematically, it gets to be a bigger umbrella, right? But for any single agent listening to this or listening to the recording, I will bet my bottom dollar that if you had 5 conversations per day, 5 times a week, mathematically, you're going to do over 1,200 conversations. And mathematically, you're going to close 38 transactions. That's a pretty cool deal.
Yeah.
Right? And then mathematically, same thing. Let's just say your goal was 18. That means you have to have 2.5 conversations per day. You just have to have a total of 10 or 12 conversations per week to do 18 transactions. I know there's people on this call or people listening to this call that go, I just want to do 6 transactions next year. Right? So mathematically, you could break that down to that's literally one conversation per day. That's when things really get exciting. So to give you the math, let's just say you wanted to close 12 transactions next year, because that's a pretty standard answer, right? When I coach people, I want to close one deal a month. That would really give me the things I want. That gives me probably 6 figures in most markets. One deal a month is a good number. So times 12, or I'm sorry, 12, one deal a month times 35 conversations is 420. Divide by 12, that's 35 conversations a month. Divide by 4, that's 8 conversations a week. Divide by 5, that means you're having call it 2 conversations per day, and you will do 12 deals closed in the next year. To me, that's liberating. To me, that makes math exciting, because then all I have to do is keep my board on the wall and just make sure I don't leave my office at the end of the day without 2 little check boxes next to the did I make my 2 contacts today, right?
It keeps coming.
Right? And then the cool thing about this is as you're doing the front end side of this prospecting, the back end starts working for you, meaning you're going to get repeat business, referral business, neighbors that saw your sign, neighbors that saw that somebody did a good job for. All that stuff starts amplifying in your business. And ultimately, in about 2 or 3 years of doing this, and I'm just being real, then your business will provide you 12 to 24 transactions without making a single call.
That
If
was
you have,
yeah, I mean that was me last year. Like I said, I went on a sabbatical, if you would say, my team members would
yeah,
would say, and I'm 100% referral based. I don't pay for any leads.
I love it.
And yeah, I mean that's my biggest advice to people is like tap into the system, like you said, the systems. Like it was all repeat business with the exception of 2 clients.
Yeah. And ultimately that's the holy grail of real estate, right? That's what we all want. There's not an agent on the planet that would not like to get off Zillow if they had the choice,
Right.
right? Usually it's a necessity. Now, if you like your business, your goal is 36 transactions. Let's just say you hired a coach and you started having these big goals and you said, I'm going to build a team. I want to have 100 transactions. You would have to probably add some kind of lead source to start providing leads to then increase your database because you can't nurture everybody to death, right? You can't squeeze another transaction out of somebody that doesn't have one. We can up our game in terms of the conversations we're having, the amount of feedback we're having, our client appreciation events. All those things are very available for us to nurture more transactions out of our sphere of influence or our database. SOI is sphere of influence, not spear, but sphere, right? Every time I say steer, I spit all over my microphone and my camera here, but the reality is SOI, sphere of influence, is a big acronym you need to understand. DB, database. ROI, real estate or return on investment. So when we start looking at our real estate numbers, these things start really coming into being quite important in the key metrics of what we're measuring, right? Okay. Great dialogue, by the way. Say your first name again.
Marca,
Mark.
Marca. Yes.
Barbka. What a pretty name.
Thank you.
So what's your team name? What's your brand?
I'm on the Larison team, Bob and Jan Larison in
Love it.
Idaho.
Yeah,
Yeah.
good team. Idaho Falls, right?
Boise area.
Boise, yeah, Boise. I love it. Well, thanks for contributing. I appreciate it.
Yeah,
So,
thank you.
anybody have any questions on what we just talked about? Anything coming up for you? Anything you disagree with, or anything you go, yeah, I need to do this? What can I help you with? You're all good looking. You could stare at me. It's not helping your business.
And what was the formula for, let's say, her 38 transactions in a year? How many calls does she have to make in order to do 38 transactions?
So, mathematically, 35 conversations
Okay.
can mathematically equal one closed transaction.
Is
Now,
that just a
that's
standard that they use?
say
Or
that
is that
again.
is that a standard or is that based on her 38?
No, no, that's not based on her. That's based on my coaching with Tom Ferry. We interviewed 700 agents and we did the math to take our top agents that are doing, I think it had to do at least 12 transactions a year. And we did the math of how many conversations they have and put this into a formula basically so we can do predictive analytics of somebody's business, right?
Okay. So 35
So
is the magic
35
number.
is a great number. And remember, 35 is not in your own cold database, right? 35 means that you have some kind of lead. You're doing something to reach out to the 35 people. When you get like her database where it's all repeat business, you might have 4, 6, or even 8 conversations before it transacts. Because when you're talking about your warm database, people that know, like, and trust you, 35 is not the number. I'm talking about Zillow leads. I'm talking about expired calls. I'm talking
Yeah,
about
just conversations.
all the things that are prospecting based in your real estate business, right? Now, it could be like, for instance, Shane, you haven't done a transaction with me, so you're not a referral business for me. We haven't done any repeat business together, right? But I know you. Maybe it's from the Exchange Club, Rotary, something. But if I reach out to you and I go, hey, Shane, Randy Byrd, hey, I know we're connected through the Rotary, but I'm a real estate broker. I'd like to find out what you do so I could support your business. I'd love it if you could support my business. And I'd love just to maybe try to earn your real estate business. Do you have a current agent that you know and love and you'd use? And if they say yes, I honor it. But I go, hey, what about if me and Sheila compete a little bit? Right? What about if you keep Sheila and you give her preference over me? But let me try and earn your business also. Would that be respectful? And if they say yes, that becomes a database. That becomes somebody that you're going to talk to on a regular basis. Okay? Just making sense? So then that conversation adds to the 35 number. So if you have that conversation, you might get lucky. Many, many times I've called people going, do you know anybody who's looking to buy, sell, or invest that I might be able to help? And they turn me on to a fourplex that's 650,000 bucks, and it just happens fast and easy. But it doesn't always happen that way. Okay. But for you, Shane, if you had a goal you wanted to set for your real estate business of closed transactions in the next 12 months, I would take that closed number times 35 and then measure those amount of conversations you're having throughout the year. And that will give you a guide of how many conversations you should have per day. Again, this is a guideline. I've got expired people that have 80, 85 per transaction because they're just making the calls and doing the dirty, right? They're just saying, hey, your house just expired. I'd like to show you how we can get it sold. You obviously didn't get it sold before. It was on the market 181 days. When are you going to pick the right agent? That's a Mike Ferry script, right? Very direct. And then the other option is, hey, I noticed your home didn't sell. I never got a chance to get in it. Are you still looking to sell? Are you still looking to move? What's the next step for you? I'm sure you love your house. Why do you think it didn't sell? It's almost always going to be the agent or the market or something besides their beautiful house, right? Okay. Very cool. So we've got about 7 minutes left. I want to open it for Q&A. You guys have been a little bit of a quiet crowd. I appreciate you, but anybody have any questions? You could also, let me check the chat, make sure nobody's privately chatted me. 36, awesome. I see Mike, 12, good job. Daniel, oops, no problem at all. It's all good. Does anybody have any Q&A for me?
I have one more question.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so we are kind of in the middle of, I'm a team member, but I've been on the team for 14 years.
Good for
Um,
you.
and to revamp, we have some pretty stagnant agents that we're going to kind of transition into. Obviously, we want to make sure that we're bringing something of value to them. But also our component has been now they need to, I feel like a team member needs to bring something of value to us as well in terms of like their sphere of influence. What do you find as the most successful value proposition to your team members, whether it be a leads? I mean, obviously we know that there's certain things on a team that brings them value, but in terms of providing lead sources, that's something as team leaders we're kind of trying to hone in on a little bit.
Yeah, so it broke up just a little bit, but I think I got 95% of it. So the question is, what's the item of value we could bring to our team members as a team leader, right?
To set us apart from everybody else.
So number one, it's not going to set you apart, but leads. Leads are the number one requirement by a team member, right? And to keep a team member on your team, leads are what they're expecting because they haven't built their own business or they wouldn't be on a team most likely. Now, you've been on the team 14 years. That's a rarity, which I love hearing. Like my average tenure was about 8 years on my team when we were at a high functioning team. And then my buddy Brent Gove in Sacramento, it was like 14 years per average agent on the team. They had team members that were on a split commission that were on the team for 20 years because he did everything right for them, right? Provided a lot of value. So with that said, I will answer it this way. Number one, leads. Number two, leads. Number three, leads. But once we get to number four, because I think there needs to be lead sources within that. But number four, I would do a very aggressive compensation advancement, meaning that if they close 3 deals, they go to this. They close 6 deals, they go to this. They go 12 deals, they go to this. They get 24 deals, and make that where it never ends. So it literally, they're making as much as being on their own when they reach a threshold, and then it resets. We found that to be very successful. I required people to be on my team 2 years contractually. When you join me, I'm going to invest in you for a year and then I need to be paid back for the next year. Right. So mine's
Yeah.
a 2-year agreement. So that has to come with the value stack added to that. And then Brent Gove, number one Remax in California, had a team of 30 buyers agents, closed 400 open houses a year. They had a very strict requirement to do open houses, but he also had all these crazy benefits. Like he took them on 2 trips a year, full expenses paid, Hawaii, elaborate places with the whole family. If they had 6 kids, they're all going. All expense paid, everything from door to door. That was his reward program. You had to reach a minimum threshold to reach that, right? So you have to
Right.
close at least 6 deals on my team to get into that party. But if you close 6 deals, you're invited 6 or 100. It's all you reach the threshold. So that's a creative way to inspire these teams. But maybe a little deeper answer right now, but mine would be individual with the team members of what they want to do and what they want out of life. What do they want to accomplish? And really laying into that. I was at Tom Ferry's office in Irvine before they moved to Texas, and one of the most impressive things I've ever seen was on every single employee's desk was their dreams, like car, house, wife, whatever it was, and then pictures of what those things are, just like a working visual dream board on their desk, 8.5 by 11. And then at the bottom of it, it said something to this fashion. It's been a few years, but it was like, here's what I need help with, or here's where I could use assistance. And it had the 2 or 3 things that other people can help them do to achieve those things.
Okay, that's really cool. I like we always do vision boards, but I like the
So
where they
cool.
see they need assistance. Yeah.
So cool. And so for me, I was like, wow, that is special. Like I'm walking through there, I'm looking at their dreams and their visions and their goals for the year. Like this guy said, I want to close 80 new, they were coaching client salespeople, right? I want to close 80 new coaching clients. I'm going to buy this Corvette. When I get to 60, I'm going to do this. Next year, we're buying a house. Here's the picture of the house. Here's the things I need, like accountability, whatever it may be for that person. That's high level.
Yeah.
That's a standard that Tom Ferry set within his people to not say, I require you to do this, but I want to know who you are and what your dreams are. And that becomes more of an individual thing, right?
Mhm.
So for me, that's what I would do. I would take each one of my team people, and you could have a blanket thing that you do for the team, incentive programs or all the things. Remember, leads, 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 and then all the other things. I've seen everything created from health insurance to retirement plans to profit share through the team. So, like my company does rev share, but other companies that don't have that, the teams can do rev share on top of that or independently.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
so those are really creative things to do. And then I would really lean into what I can do to help that human, to help that person reach all their goals. And guess what? They're not going to leave you. They leave you not for money. It's almost never the money
Lack
unless
of support.
it's lack of support and lack of helping them reach their goals and dreams, right?
Yeah.
Like good or bad, like I have 5 buyers agents that own brokerages now, right? So they were my buyers agents and I taught them everything I know and then they left. I didn't feel good, but they went and started their own brokerage. And
Right.
that means that, in my opinion, my systems were broken. Because if I didn't leave them a vertical placement within my brokerage, my team, my organization, whatever, and they have to leave to go get it. Now, you can't stop an entrepreneur from being an entrepreneur, right? I'm an entrepreneur. I'd rather have a hot dog stand than a $400,000 a year post office job. It's just reality.
Right.
But with that said, if I had upward movement and I could stay in a place I felt safe and respected, I would have stayed.
Okay.
Usually you're moving because you cannot get that. So that's kind of the takeaway from this.
That's perfect. I'm in your downline and I think I'll try and set up a call with you so we can.
Perfect.
Perfect.
Yeah, I
Thank you
appreciate
so
you and
much.
I'd love to do that. Thank you for the
Okay.
questions. Thank you
Yeah.
for being here, everybody. All right, we're wrapping up every single week, Tuesday, whatever time I said, look on my calendar. It's 11:30 Pacific, 12:30 in Arizona, Idaho's whatever. I don't know what time it is there.
It's
But
2 o'clock.
okay, good. I think we're at the
Yep.
same time. But anyway, thank you for being here. Tell the others, as Johnny Depp would say, with that little accent with a bottle of rum in his hand. And we'll see you next week. Thanks,
Thanks,
everybody.
Randy.
Cheers. Have a great
Randy.
day. Bye for now.